Hey guys, welcome back to the Calvinist Contradiction. Today we are continuing our study in where is Calvinism within the biblical narrative, the opening of the Bible. And so we always say that if it is true biblical theology, surely it should be found in Genesis 4, Genesis 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to today where we've gotten to 19. Our last episode was on 18, which was just, I felt, a super strong um, verses. We read the whole thing, super strong um, chapter to prove that there is free will theodicy in the Bible. And if there's not, it's up to the Calvinists to respond to that video and show us how it would make sense in the context of the biblical narrative. And so, if you like this content, again, we ask you to like the video, subscribe. We have people subscribing every day, and pray about supporting our ministry. We are pro bono. I have been in Asia Minor for over 10 years now as a church planner. I've planted two churches, one that I'm currently serving in. And I have a funeral business over here for funeral ministry over here for expats. I also run kind of a publishing business that's still getting up, but I've published a book in Turkish. In our language here, I've published or about to publish a book in English, and I have a couple other works on the way, especially for you guys, that I'm going to make available for you on these topics. And so please, if you could consider praying for our ministry one, but also praying about supporting our ministry, we would really appreciate that. There's ways to do that in the description section, and Genesis 18 is down there. 19 is down in the description section as well. So if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe. Again, last week or last Friday, we went over Genesis 18. So this is where the theophany of the Lord, so the Lord appearing in a physical, um, visible form, in the form of a man. He does this all the time. This is Jesus in the Old Testament. He shows up it says in the New Testament, in Colossians, he is the image of the invisible God. And so when God shows up visibly in the Old Testament, this is still Jesus. And this happens all the time. We've talked about it in Genesis 12, 15, 16, I'm pretty sure, 17, 18. We're going to see he doesn't do that in 19, but he does this a lot. He'll show up in 20, it is, as the angel of the Lord, where he's going to sacrifice Isaac and all that kind of stuff. When you see the angel of the Lord, when you see the visible Yahweh, that is Yahweh in visible form. So if he has anthropomorphic like language surrounding him, he has eyes, he has hands, he has these kind of things. This is the visible Yahweh, and it's never changed. It's always been the same. It's always Jesus. He's just known by different identities in the Old Testament. And so today, and we asked that question. That's where I was going with that. We asked one question: what is going on here from a Calvinistic perspective? So we know what's going on here in the free world theodicy. These are just, evil people and God's coming to destroy them. But in the Calvinistic perspective, this is not the devil's playground. This is God's playground to, I guess, do every kind of sin that is in the desire of his heart. I don't know how else you could explain this. If God meticulously controls all things, and to quote John Piper, the most prominent, one of the most prominent, um, the Calvinist today, he controls every dust mite, taking a segment of John Piper's Desiring God's website, as unimaginable as it might be for us to comprehend, from the killings of Dennis Rader. That's where Dennis Rader killed and ate people, to the horrors of Auschwitz and Birkenau. That's where they killed millions of Jewish people in the gas chambers and other experiments, to even the rape of young children, the sexual abuse of young children. It's not God allowing, it's God doing. Okay? So Calvinistic glasses are now put on. God is doing these things, and it's for his own glory to boot. You have to remember that. He wanted this to happen before the foundation of the world. He meticulously controlled it, did it, and he expects glory for it. Okay, so that's the Calvinistic perspective. So we're saying, with this perspective, when we read 18, that the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah has come up before me, and I'm going to go down there. He says, I'm not going to hide this from Abraham, or from Abraham because he's becoming a great nation. Um, I'm going to go down there and see if what's going on is true, and he's going to destroy this place. And so, is God telling Abraham, I'm going to go down there and see if this, we're going to find out today, sexually perverse people who are just, abase in thought and mind, are they really doing this? And if so, I'm going to destroy that. Or is he saying, in the Calvinistic perspective, all of these evil things that I'm doing for my own glory, I'm going down there to make sure that those cries are coming up? It makes no sense. Again, why does he have to go down? He's literally doing it for his own glory. And so that's the question we're going to carry on today. It's going to be another long one because we're going to read the whole chapter, because the whole thing is rife with what the heck is Yahweh doing here if Calvinism is indeed true and is supposed to be interpreted this way. So let's jump into there. Again, we said, like, Las Vegas, the devil's playground, is only really God's playground, and all of God's, I guess, sexual desires and, evil things are played out by him, through him, for his glory, in Vegas or any place, in Sodom and Gomorrah in here. So let's jump in. In the description section, you can click on the link and it will take you to Genesis 19. You can read along with me. Now the two angels came to Sodom. This is from 18. The Lord was there and two angels. The two angels go, the Lord's not there. Now the two angels came to Sodom in the evening as Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. It's the same thing that Abraham did. This is the literary device of repetition. And he said, now behold, my lords, please. Lords is in lowercase here too. We point out how it was in uppercase with Abraham. Please turn aside to your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you may rise early and go on your way. Then they said, however, no, but we shall spend the night in the square. Yet he urged them strongly. So they turned aside to him and entered his house, and he prepared a feast for them and baked unleavened bread and ate. And so we basically have the same narrative being set up, the same thing happening. It went really good for Abram. So they use repetition. This is reading the Bible in context. This is my wheelhouse. This is the thing that I love to do. Ancient Near Eastern context. How did they use literary devices to tell stories, to teach theology and doctrine? Okay. And so we have here, yet he urged them. So the Lord is urging the angels to stay, or is this Lot, who's experienced in what the heck goes on in Sodom, where he's at here, saying, no, you better not spend the night out here, come into my house? He is literally using or is this God? This is the question. Is this God using a Lot here? And he's saying, no, he's making him urge. Or is this Lot using his own free will? Again, this is the perspective that I'm taking, to come into his house, not to have to experience what we're about to see here. Behold, before they laid down, the men in the city, the Sodom of Gomorrah, the men of Sodom surrounded the house, both young and old, all people from every quarter, and they called to Lot and said to him, where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out so that we may have relations with them. Okay, Calvinists, here we go again. So Lot brings them in. So it says that before they laid down, the men in the city, the men of Sodom, surrounded the house. So in the perspective, this is man's evil desire. They're surrounding the house and they want to have relationship with these men. In their perspective right now, they're only men. They don't probably know more, but here in a little bit, they're going to know that they're supernatural. And they want to have sex with these men in their eyes. And so is this God? God's ultimate plan. God is literally meticulously controlling these people. Go, I want you to have homosexual sex with these. This is God's desire. This is for God's glory. Again, in Calvinistic perspective, I want you not allowed this to happen. I want you to do this, and you're doing this. I'm making you meticulously do this. Is that how we're supposed to interpret this text here? But Lot went out to them at the door and shut the door behind him and said, please, my brothers, do not act wickedly. We should expect, please, God, Would you stop doing this? This is you meticulously controlling these people. But who does Lot direct his response to? And who does he say is act wickedly? Again, in the Calvinistic perspective, if Calvinism is true, why wouldn't it say, uh, do not act wickedly as the Lord is making you? Or, Lord, please stop making these people act wickedly. Now behold, I have two daughters who have not had relationship with men. Please let me bring them out to you and do to them whatever you would like. Only do nothing to these men in as much as they have come under the shelter of my roof. Now, this is ancient Near Eastern. This is Near Eastern perspective. Anything not to be shamed here. Being a crappy dad. I am a father of a daughter. I would never do this, but I'm not, ancient Near Eastern perspective or Near Eastern perspective here, where they'll like do anything to avoid shame. So, who've come under shelter of my roof. Again, I will let, not God, God's given me this, God wants me to do this, and I will do this. Like, again, this seems to me like a decision that he made with his own will. Now, how would this happen in Calvinism? Okay, so he's saying, no, this is what I want. But is this God telling Lot, God's controlling these evil men? I want you to have sex with these men. And then Lot comes out, which is really just God, controlling Lot to come out and say, no, I want you to have sex with my virgin daughters and do whatever you want with them. So God's ultimately doing both of these things. What the heck would be going on here in Calvinism if it was true? But I don't believe it is. Furthermore, they say this one came in as an alien and already is acting like a judge. Now we will treat you worse than them. So this is, again, are we supposed to interpret this as God saying, no, I'm going to rape you just as much now, not if worse? This is going to be gang rape right now on this guy. And this is God. Or is it like, we will treat you worse, as the text says right here? How are we supposed to interpret this? Bologna sausage would never be in your mind if Calvin didn't write the bologna sausage in the first place. And if you just read the biblical narrative from the beginning, you got to hear, you would not have this bologna sausage. God is, controlling Lot to not make them have sex with them. And then he wants these guys have homosexual sex with them, but now they're going to gang rape. This is all God. He just wants to do this. This is his glory. This is his perversion. Really, when it comes down to it, Calvinists, this is what you want us to accept. I don't believe it. So they press hard against him. They're going to gang rape this guy. Lot came near. They pressed hard against Lot to come near the door to break the door. But the men reached out their hands, so the angels reached out their hands and brought Lot into the house with them and shut the door. So again, God saying, rape this guy, gang rape him. I want to see this. It's for my own glory. And then he says, actually, I'm going to save him right now. That's actually for my own glory. But the gang rape would be just as much for my own glory, if not more, because you're supposed to just swallow the pill and, grit your teeth and bear the Calvinist contradiction. No, we're saying bologna sausage. It's literally a pile of steaming fit for the ash heap, fit for the dung heap. This is what this theology is when you get into 19 here. Okay? So they struck the men who were at the door way of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves trying to find the door. So then they come and boom, supernatural, blast them. They're blind and they still want to have sex with them. So they're wearying themselves to find the door. What is going on here? So God, you're going to gang rape this guy. Angels, still God, we're going to save you. Blinding them, God, you still gang rape these people. This is what I want. Again, is this what we're supposed to believe here? Then the two men said to Lot, whom else have you here? A son-in-law, and your sons, and your daughters, and whomever you have in the city, bring them out of the place. For we are about to destroy this place, because their outcry has become so great before the Lord that the Lord has sent us to destroy it. Is this not volition of the will? Who the heck do you have in the city? This city is crazy. Get out of here now. Go. We're going to destroy this. But the Lord is bringing his fire. Again, the Lord's just been having a bunch of fun down here, I guess, raping people and mistreating people and doing whatever. And sorry, sick Calvinism mind, not you, Calvinist, sick Calvin's theology. That's what's going on here. And now the Lord's going to, I guess, sweep everything under the rug and get rid of what he's actually been doing here. I don't know how else to parse this with this deterministic, Calvinistic, um, meticulous control over all things mindset. Okay? And so, but he's saying, get your people and get the heck out of here. That's what he said. He said, I'm not going to get you out of here. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, and he says it multiple times, you're going to get destroyed if you're in this city. So 14, Lot went out and spoke with his son-in-law, his son-in-law, who were to marry his daughters, and said, uh, "Up, get out of this place, for the Lord will destroy the city." But he appeared to his son-in-laws to be jesting. He appeared to be jesting, not God was making him appear to be jesting. These people looked and said, "Yeah, right. Like this is going to happen." Again, are we supposed to imply from the text that God actually made them think that they were jesting? No, but he appeared to his son-in-laws to be jesting. Number 15. But when morning dawned, the angels urged Lot, saying, "Up, take your wife and your two daughters who are here, and or you will be swept away in punishment of the city." If this is not volition of the will, tell me what it is, Calvinist. Get up and get out of here. Take who you love. Doesn't matter. Obviously, they're sticking around because they want the son-in-laws, they want the daughter, they want everybody. The 10 people. Abraham said, He says he stops at 10. He has 10 in his mind for some reason. He could have gone down lower, but he says 10. Get your people and get the heck out of here, they said, or you will be swept away in punishment of the city. There is the guys that I talked to on the comment section. There's no free will. There's no. What is this then? Do it or else you die. Okay? That's what he says. Literally, he says here. But he hesitated. Why? Because he's got family in the city. And so the men seized his hand and the hand of his wife and the hand of his two daughters, and the compassion of the Lord was upon him, and they brought him out and put him outside the city. You're not doing this. I'm going to get your butt out of here. Boom. And they take him out. Okay? Why? Because God had promised that he's not going to let the righteous suffer with the unrighteous here. And who's he got in his mind? He has Lot. Now, is Lot totally righteous in the sense that we kind of have in a Christian perspective? No. But the innocent is not going to be here judged with the guilty. So he's saying, go, get the heck out of here. And he won't go, obviously, because he loves his family and he doesn't want to leave them behind. But so what does he do? He picks him up and he takes him out. Okay? That's exactly what we see here. Where did we leave off? And put him outside the city. 17. When they had brought him outside the city, one said, escape for your life. Do not look behind you and do not stay anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains or you will be swept away. Do this or you will be swept away. That's what he's saying. Do not stick around here. You're going to get killed. He already had to take him out of there to save his life because he's just procrastinating so much. And now he's saying, go. But Lot said to them, "Oh no, my lords, now behold, your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have magnified your loving kindness, praise God, which you have shown me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains, for the disaster will overtake me, and I will die. Now behold, this town is near enough to flee, and it is small. Please let me escape there. If is it not small, that my life may be saved?" And he said to him, "Behold, I grant you this request also, now not to overthrow the town of which you have spoken. Hurry, escape, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there. Therefore, the name of the town was called Zorah. And so, again, okay, um, what's going on here? I'm going to destroy this town. And then Lot's like, please I'm too slow and I'm old. I'm not going to make it there. He's worried. He should trust the Lord, but I'm not going to make it there. Please let me just go to here. And then the Lord says, okay. Or the angels say, okay, let that be done, but get out of here. Don't look back. Just go. You got to get out of here or you will be destroyed. And so the sun had risen over the earth when Lot came to Zorah. Then the Lord rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from out of the Lord of heaven. And he overthrew those cities and all of the valley and all the inhabitants in the city, but and what grew on the ground. But his wife from behind him looked back and she became a pillar of salt. And so is this God making her look back? Or is this my family is literally being destroyed? Probably unimaginable sounds are happening when it's raining fire and brimstone. People are probably screaming. They can probably hear all of this stuff. They're all in the vicinity. And because of is this because God just is like, I want her to be a pillar of salt? You turn your head now. Or did she turn her head and disobey the Lord? And boom, no matter what it is, no matter what reason she turns around for, probably a pretty good one. Man, my family is getting destroyed. I cannot take this. I'm going to look back, disobeys the Lord, and boom. We're going to talk about this with like, is this what did God make her do this? Meticulously controlled her. I'm cleaning up my sins from over here. Don't look at this. We're sweeping this under the rug because God, in the Calvinistic perspective, did all the unimaginable things that were happening in Sodom and Gomorrah. And so he's now saying, I'm going to wipe this away. Don't look back. Oh, actually, abject lesson, or, the object lesson for you. Turn around, boom, you're a pillar of salt too. Is that how we're supposed to look at this and interpret this? No, I don't think so. But out of her desire, she turns around and boom, turns into a pillar of salt. Now Abram rose early in the morning and went down to the place where he had stood before the Lord, and he looked down at Sodom and Gomorrah towards all the land in the valley, and he saw that, behold, the smoke of the land ascended like a smoke of a furnace. Thus it came about when God destroyed the cities of the valley that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the city in which Lot lived. Well, there's the explanation for why that happened. Why did Lot literally have to be picked up and moved out of the city? And it's because he remembered Abraham and sent Lot out in the midst of the overthrow. So Abraham, out of his own volition, again, we went over this in the last chapter where he's like, I'm but dust, I am all this stuff. Again, is this God, the ventriloquist, just using Abraham here? That was the question we said. How about if there's 50 in the city? No, it won't destroy it. Well, how about if there's 40 in this? Is that how you're supposed to interpret this naturally without any kind of bunk doctrine floating in your head that you got from some John somewhere in time past? Either John Piper now, John Calvin back then, John MacArthur, whatever John, whatever, whoever their name is this how the natural text reads when you're reading the scriptures in their proper context, especially from an ancient Near Eastern perspective? No, absolutely not. This is not how it's supposed to be read. And so let's go on. But he picks him up because he remembers the conversation that the Lord had with him. And so there's this last part here. Lot went up from from Zorah and stayed in the mountains, and his two daughters with him, for he was afraid to stay in Zorah, so he stayed in a cave, and his two daughters. Then the firstborn said to the younger, our father is old, so that there's no man on earth to come into us in the manner of the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and let us lie with him, that we may preserve our family through our father. Okay, so God swept all of his, debauchery under the rug. Good, glad that's out of here in the Calvinistic perspective. Up in the cave in Zorah, though, hey, I got a little bit more to get frisky with, I guess. Let's try some incense here. What the heck is going on here in the Calvinistic perspective? I'm going to make them have incense. I just saved this guy's life, one, because of Abraham, but now I'm going to make him have incest with his daughters here. Or the proper reading of the text, which is plain and clear. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and let us lie with him to preserve our family through our father. Us, let us make him is the volition of the will here. Now, I know the Calvinist out there is going to say, oh, well, you're just reading that in. Well, you're just reading in the text that this is God's perverse mind making them have incest here. That's what you are literally doing. But I'm saying the text is reading as if these girls came up with this way to save their lineage. It's perverse for sure, but this is their idea. It's coming from them. And so they made their father drink wine. So they made their father, not so God made them make their father. See how that should be read if it was Calvinistic? And the firstborn went in and laid with her father. Oh, wait, God made the firstborn go in there and have incestual relationships with her father. No, that's not how it's read, and that's not how it's supposed to be interpreted. And he did not know when she laid down or when she arose. On the following day, the firstborn said to the younger, behold, I lay last night with my father. Let us make him drink wine tonight also. Then you will go in and lie with him, that may preserve our family through our father. Again, same thing. Is this God saying, did it once, but I'm up for another one tonight? Or is it these girls saying, we're scared, they're traumatized for sure, and they're not making good decisions here? So they made their father, not so the Lord made them make their father drink wine. It's very easy. The Lord could have written it like this, especially if it was true. He would have written it like this, but he doesn't. So they made their father drink wine, and that night also drink wine that night also. And the younger rose and lay with him, and he did not know when she laid down or when she arose. Thus both the daughters were with child by their father. The firstborn born a son, called his name Moab, and he is the father of the Moabites to this day. As the younger, she also born a son and called the name Ben Amin. He is the father of the sons of Ammon to this day. That's the end of the chapter. And so the question is, to you Calvinists out there, prove to me God's not just sweeping up his, debauchery under the rug here. Because what else? God is doing all this debauchery. John Piper's desiring God. He's doing all this. He's not allowing it. Allowing it is our language, is free will theodicy. He's allowing free will creatures to do stuff that's against his will. But Calvinists say that this is for God. This is God's will. It's for his glory. That unimaginable stuff was happening in Sodom and Gomorrah. And he says, people are going to find out that this is actually from me, for my glory, which if it was, then why is he going to have to sweep it under the rug? Destroys it, comes in, and then, didn't get his fix, I guess, with the debauchery that was going on there. And let's just carry it on more up here in the cave. Is that how you're supposed to interpret the text? I'm not maligning. This is literally taking the theology and saying, I'm not going to let the contradiction rule my, doctrine, which is the Calvinistic contradiction, is that untenable theology it becomes untenable because I cannot play this out to its furthest point. And we're just saying this is the furthest point you can get. God's ultimately to blame here. God's ultimately cleaning up whatever he did here in the text, in the Calvinistic perspective, and he's carrying it on his debauchery elsewhere. That's exactly what we're here. Or is God allowing because he's sovereign? We're going to get over this in the Calvinistic conflation. Does sovereignty equal meticulous control? No. In no context other than Calvinism is that the case. Why? Because I'm sovereign over my household, and I don't meticulously control everything that goes on in my household. Okay? So God, he's sovereign, and he's allowing this to happen because he's given man free will. And so, as Abraham is righteous before him by his own free will, these towns are wicked and they get destroyed before him because of their own free will. And that is biblical theology 101 right there, in my opinion. And so, love you guys. Thank you for this is our longest episode yet, but it's just really show me the Calvinist who's going through this eh, verse by verse in showing us how this is God's desire, his predestined will before the foundation of the world, and how he's playing this out. Um, and I really thank you for sticking around with us for this long video. Let me know what you think. Love you guys, and I'll see you later in the next episode of The Calvinist Contradiction.